right. It is 8:30. It is time for Conversations with Teresa. I am so excited that we get a chance to come together. And tonight we get a chance to talk about something big, something huge. And on top of that, we're going to do something a little different. So, first of all, we're talking about the subject of menopause. And if you don't know what it is, by the end of the show, you're going to know what it is and how it affects a variety of people. So that's one thing that we're going to talk about. And then the second thing that I wanted to explain was that usually, like, I may have one guest, but now I have some phenomenal people on, and we're just going to be sharing about our experiences with our journey on menopause. All right. So we're going to go ahead and invite my friends and family coming on in. Super, super excited. I cannot tell you enough. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to be able to explain, but really tonight is about talking about menopause, talking about this thing that we don't talk about. Why? I don't know. I wish somebody would have told me. I'm actually a little mad at the people who didn't tell me. You went through it, knew I was going to do it, and still didn't say anything. Thank you very much. But I'm here now. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. Each of our panelists will tell you guys a little bit about their story. And the hope is that what you get out of it will maybe free you up, maybe give you some insight as to what to do, how to do it, to confirm that you're not crazy. Because I was rocking a couple of nights, y'all. I'm just saying, I had some issues. I was feeling some stuff. All right. And again, I didn't know. I just didn't know. But anyway, menopause, the women in this world, we make up half the population, and yet we don't talk about this, right? We don't talk about this, and we have to, because it affects everything about us. It affects, obviously, us as people, but it affects our work, it affects our family, it affects our emotions, it affects our bodies. And so we're going to talk about this tonight. So real quick, let me introduce you to my friends. And what I'm going to do is, as I introduce them, I'm going to ask them to tell us where they are on their menopause journey. All right. So I'm just going to go on my screen how I see people. So we're going to start with April.
Hello. I'm in full menopause and have been in full menopause for 4 years at this point.
Okay. All right. All right. There we go. All right. And then we have Atia.
Hey.
Hey.
So I'm Atia, and where would I say? I'm somewhere in the perimenopause journey where things are starting to become noticeable. And every time I look up a different symptom, I'm like, oh, okay, that's perimenopause. It's on the list. So somewhere in the middle, I have no idea where, but I'm in there.
There you go. And that list, depending on the list that you see, you could have a list of 10, 32, 99. They're like, Christine and I talk about this all the time. It's like everything is menopause. That light is too bright. That's menopause. Like, we just, it's crazy, but it's, listen. All right. Next on the list is Chewy.
Hi, I'm in perimenopause too. Really just the beginning of it. Not so many symptoms yet.
All right. Well, Chewy, I'm super excited. I'm excited for everyone to be here. I'm just going to throw you out there, Chewy. Chewy's a nurse. She sees some stuff. And so I'm going to ask her to, as she's sharing about her experiences, she may also just share about some things that she's seen in other people as well. And then we have Christine. Come on, Christine.
Hello. So again, my name is Christine, and I am in perimenopause, but on the extreme actual end. So lots to talk about. Symptoms came on hard and heavy, and taking a beating. I'm taking a beating over here. So
absolutely. No, and I get it. I get it. So there are going to be some folks on here that may or may not know what all the terms are. So I'm just going to read them off. So perimenopause, it's the transition period between a woman's reproductive years and menopause. It's kind of like where we're living. We feel a lot of those symptoms. Some of the symptoms are um, the things that are like evident, like when we talk about the hot flashes and the night sweats and just different things like that. But that's usually that's where we're at. I think everyone said that we're all in perimenopause.
Except
Men-
for April. April's
oh,
already ahead of us.
my bad, April. My bad.
Yeah,
All
way
right.
ahead of y'all.
All right. Good deal. Good deal. So then menopause is the transition period between a woman's menstrual cycles, and it marks the end of the woman's reproductive years. And so it's when you haven't had a period in 1 year. It's probably not going to come back. It's all good. Praise the Lord. And so that's that's where April's at. And so that's what describes menopause. And then postmenopause is the time after that. So once you haven't had your period for a year, there are different things that happen in our bodies, and that would be called postmenopause. All right. So those are the definitions. I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story, why we are here tonight. So very similar to Christine. It's kind of like when you have, like your best friend goes through the same things as you. It's like mirror. Okay. When I talk about a punch in the face, in the gut, in the everything, and it felt like everything came all at once. There's some show that says everything all at once. I don't know. There's some show on Netflix, everything all at once.
Yeah. Everything.
You know what I'm talking about.
Everything, anything. I don't know. All at once. Something. Yeah.
All at once was the thing. And that's how I felt, like all at once. And so that all at once was, I had hot flashes probably a couple of years before, feeling like, okay, why am I the only one hot? And, going by the door and things like that. But that happened pretty infrequently. It didn't happen very often. So I was like, I could do this. This is menopause. This is perimenopause. Got this, And then, different things happened, but I actually didn't really associate it with anything. I just thought I was just getting older. This is what's happening. A couple of months ago, not even just a couple of months ago, everything all at once happened. So I became super anxious, and that's not my character. I'm a pretty go with the flow type person. Like, hey, we could do this. And, everything's pretty easy. But I became like almost paranoid anxious. Like, I remember sitting in my bed, like shifting my eyes back and forth, thinking like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm going to be admitted somewhere because I can't, my mind was racing about everything and nothing because I couldn't keep a thought. Like, it was just like, I don't know what I'm thinking about, but I'm up, I'm awake. I can't do anything. I can't sleep. So that was the other thing. It was insomnia. So I'm going days sleeping like an hour here, 2 hours here. And when we're not sleeping, we get all messed up. Our bodies get out of tune, our heads, we can't really think. So that was not fun. Definitely the night sweats was happening. The hot flashes was happening. But the biggest thing was that anxiety, that it was just messing with my head. Oh, and the other thing was that I literally could not function well. And I remember I was telling my boss, I went in, I took a couple of days off, and I told her, I was like, I don't know how to use Excel. Like, I've been using Excel since like 90 something, right? I was just like, I don't know. She was like, all right, Control F. I was like, what's Control F? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then that messed with my confidence, right? Like, I can't really do this. I don't know. This is not working out. There were so many instances that was happening, and I felt all out of sorts. I don't even know. I don't even have the words, but lots of crying, lots of calling you guys, lots of, like, what is happening? And I was fortunate to have had a doctor's appointment in that time, right? And so talking to the doctor and letting them know all of the different things that was going on. And her biggest thing, she was like, you got to get some sleep, so I ended up and I started taking antidepressants to help me to relax, to sleep, and to get rid of this anxiety. And whew, okay, it helped tremendously. But then I started looking back and I thought about earlier in the summer. I remember I couldn't remember, like I'd be in mid sentence and I couldn't remember words. I'd be like, what is that thing that's right there? The thing that takes pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, camera. Like it was literally though, like I couldn't figure out what words were. And like it was kind of funny, but kind of not, because then I started thinking, is this dementia? Is this the onset? Is this, so I'm telling people because I need you guys to know what's happening. And I was, again, sad, frustrated, confused, hot. I got the fan on right now, hot. It was just a lot of stuff that was going on. And it was just such a confusing, hard time to function. And so I'm sure that none of you guys have ever felt any of that. Nothing like that, right? But the reality is that we're all different, right? Menopause is going to hit everyone a little differently. And if we are not prepared for it, it makes us feel all of those things that I felt. And we think like, oh, what's happening? And we don't know. We don't get the fact that it's actually normal. It's actually natural, this phase in our life. But because we don't talk about it, it's like this scary thing. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know to ask, right? We don't know to ask, hey, what's going to happen when I turn 45? Or what might happen when I turn 51? We don't know that stuff. And so tonight, I want to start the conversation, just to start the conversation, because there's so much to be had. I know that there are people online. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please, comments, let us know where you're at on your journey. You heard my story. If you've been around me in the last 2 months, you heard it in person, because I was telling everybody, so what? Because I'm wondering, what should I do? What, how do I handle this? So, and I'll try to get to some of the comments as well. But right now, I'm going to ask the lovely panel if you guys wouldn't mind sharing your story a bit, and take a few minutes. And you've told us where you're at right now, but maybe some of the things that you're experiencing or have experienced. And I'll go backwards this time, and I'll start off with Christine.
Wow, where to start? There were so many symptoms, but I really kind of, and again, thank you for having us on here, and thank you for having this conversation.
Absolutely.
I wanted to kind of start with kind of what was probably the biggest one for me. So I mentioned that my perimenopause is actually very extreme. I ended up on medical leave. I ended up on in the hospital multiple times for things that I thought, oh my God, I'm falling apart. And
yeah,
almost in a frustrating way to be told it's perimenopause. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not, because no, there's no way this is just menopause. But I think my most extreme example that I could think of was really just my menstrual cycle. And I've always had a heavy menstrual cycle, but I think where it started really kicking my butt was like literally at one point I menstruated for 27 days straight.
oh,
And I have an iron deficiency, and so needless to say, bleeding for that long Sorry if there's more sensitive ears on, but
Listen, everything goes here. If you joined on, then get ready.
Yeah, it was really I went to the doctor. They were like, no, it's gonna stop. I'm like, it didn't. No, it didn't. So I ended up getting put on medication to stop the bleeding. That didn't work. So they actually had to give me a double dose of what is typically, don't take this for more than 5 days. Okay, take it for 10 days and let's see what happens. Fortunately, it did stop like around day 8 of being on medication, which was already at about 27 days straight of very, very heavy. I ended up having to take time off from work because I was going through all my clothes, all my everything. There was nothing that I felt so uncomfortable. I didn't feel comfortable being at work. Right. So on top of just, like Teresa mentioned, the memory lapses and the tiredness and everything else, there was just this anxiety of, I can't leave my room. Like I can't leave my room. I could work. I will work in my office that's in my room. I can't leave my room. And it took me a while to kind of get back into kind of getting outside and like I said, it was just really strange to have all of that, have all those feelings, have all those experiences, go to the doctor, like, I think there's something wrong. Something's about to fall out my body. I'm not really sure. And they were like, no, it's perimenopause. Wow. So, it's, I think that was probably my biggest thing. And my right now issue is depression. So it is Teresa's been getting them phone calls. But I'm usually a talker. Like I work in HR, I talk a lot. But what I did, which, if anything, I could advise your audience not to do. I did the whole stick my head in the sand. I stopped calling people. I stopped talking to people. Did. I shut myself in my room, and it was like, nope, we're just gonna sit here till this is over. Again, kind of talking it through, talking to someone, and just kind of getting like, okay, no, you got to actually reach out to people. You can't isolate yourself. That is one of the worst things that you can do. Right. But yeah, so that's kind of my two on my where I'm at. I went somewhat back to slightly longer menstrual cycles, nothing as bad as what happened before, but still running anywhere between 6 and 10 days at a time. So there is no schedule. There's no schedule left anymore. I just gave up on it.
Yes. And I will say, one of the ways, I knew that she was going through this, but Christine stopped calling me. She stopped answering my call. I told her, like, after 3 days, we only give each other like 3 times to call each other. And then, like, if you don't answer, I start calling her kids. I call her sister who's in Florida. I'm like, where's she at? She talked to you? So that's where it was. And that's reality. Mm-hmm. That you start feeling like I can't, whatever it is, I can't. Mm-hmm. And it's awful. It's awful. Whether it's perimenopause, menopause or not, those feelings are real. And it's something that we have to figure out, how are we going to talk about it enough that we're not sticking our head in the sand. So again, we have about 25 people online making comments and things like that. I see you guys. I'm appreciating that you guys are on here. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for sharing your story as well. Chewy, how about you give us your perspective on what's been going on and what you see?
So far, not much. I did tell my doctor that I'm going through it, and she said, you're kind of young. But I did look up the average age that you start. It said between 40 and 50, so I'm right in the middle. But So far for me, it's just no period for like 6 months, and then you'll get it for like a couple days, and then it's just irregular, but no other symptoms yet.
Well, I'm glad, that you haven't had any symptoms. I think, combined, we've had enough symptoms for you. Um, Ooh, child. Okay. And it's interesting. Chewy, where are you from?
Vietnam.
From Vietnam. So one of the reasons why I really wanted to have you on, especially, and I said it at the beginning, is that menopause is a different journey for everyone. We will all go through it, but we'll all experience it differently. So Black people and Vietnamese, Asian descent, you're going to experience different than white people, than Indian. Yeah, it's amazing. It's just amazing how our bodies are, how they react. And obviously there are some external things, but there are some internal things that will allow us to feel things that, the next person will feel or won't feel. So you could be like Chewy, going through it, being in that time, and you're like, I'm handling this like a boss, right? And then it could just happen, or it could be that punch. I don't know, who's to say. But for those who don't have the punch, I am a little jealous. But I'm happy for you, because this is some stuff, So, so thank you so much for sharing, Chewy, and let me know if there's anything else that you want to share, or anything that you've seen, or I don't know. So thanks so much. Miss Tia. Tia, I'm sorry.
Okay, yes. Professionally. So I think for me, I was trying to think about all of, what have I experienced? How have I experienced it? And I was talking to some of my friends earlier, and part of it is like, we're such in this like mom, working, tired. Is it that?
Right.
Or is it moving into the perimenopause? So it's like, is there a line? I don't know. But, I started to, when I hit like my mid to late 30s, I started like just noticing my periods were a little different. They'd come on a little stronger. So, I started just kind of taking stock into like where my body is. And if all of you know me, well, except for Chewy, but you all know me, I'm very action oriented. So I was like, okay, we're going to start tracking this. I'm going to take notes. We're going to have, all of the things, so that when I met with my doctors, I could talk openly with them. And Chewy, I had the same experience where, they're like, oh, you're too young. And I'm like, yeah, but not really. I mean, I know like black don't crack, but like, no, I'm actually within that age range where things start happening. So, I would say like the period changes, weirdly like itchy ears. Like, I don't know if any of you guys have had that, but that's like a perimenopause thing. And it's like right.
Like inside?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm always like this.
Yes.
All the time.
Right.
That's
So
I didn't know that one.
I didn't know that.
It is a perimenopause thing. Right. The whole like, words at the tip of your tongue, those are all just things related to perimenopause. You can't even explain it. So those are some of the things that I've noticed for myself. But Teresa, we just chalk up everything to perimenopause, right?
Everything.
Like
everything.
Yeah. So that's
why is my phone not working? It's perimenopause.
Right. Gas prices are too high. Like,
legit. Well, it's a lot easier to say that than to try to figure out something else, because it's almost ridiculous how many issues, not issues, I don't want to say issues, but how many ailments, I can't even think of the word.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Symptoms.
Thank you. See, there's so many symptoms. And I don't want to say ailments because this is not like a disease. It's not, bad or anything like that. It's just where we are. It's just part of our body. Oh, when I just did that, the
Mm-hmm.
facial hair. Like, what's up
Oh,
with that? I don't know. I'm just saying. I leave nothing on the table,
yes.
but I just felt it when I did that. I remembered. That's the other thing. It's everything. Oh, and I don't know. There's something else, but maybe April may share one of these things, but if I don't, remind me, what's that other thing? Not like I'll remember because I'm
I
not
was
Yes.
going
writing
to
it
say, you
down.
won't remember by the time we
Right.
come back to you.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. So CJ, it's just remind me I'm doing this. All right. I forget. CJ's producing this. So awesome. All right. Tia, thank you so much
Yeah.
for sharing. I listen, I know. I honestly know. So
Mhm.
all right. Miss April, talk to us, enlighten us, tell us.
Oh, well, my journey started approximately when I was 48 years old. And it's weird. I mean, again, we can say anything on here, but originally I was on birth control, and I noticed that again that all of a sudden I started honestly my sex drive went down. And I was like, what's going on? So I went to the doctor and she was just like, with the birth control, of course, I wasn't getting, extreme periods. And thank God I wasn't, because I usually used to have a heavy flow. And the only reason why I was really per se on the birth control is more so to control the heavy flow.
Yep.
And then she was like, well, let's see what happens. We just watched my gynecologist, we just watched things and stuff. And she was like, I could give you something, but maybe we shouldn't because of your age. And I was like, okay. And then she said, let's see how your periods go for the next, they monitored me for about 6 months. And then next thing you know, I wasn't having any. And so I wasn't getting, after that point, I just stopped getting periods. So she double checked and she was like, let's do some blood work. And she was like, you have menopause. I was like, what? So for me, Perry, I don't even remember when the Perry started, except for all of a sudden, the one thing I remember for me, the symptom that you all had not mentioned that happened for me was the lack of sexual drive. It just, all of a sudden, I was just like, what happened to me? What's going on? So I went through everything you all talked about, the itchy ears. It's funny, Teresa pointed at the same spot where there's just the one chin hair, just the one.
It really is one. It's hard.
I don't really, I mean,
I have
typically
more
I'm
than
not a
one.
hairy person, but this one, that one right there, I was like, what, when did you get there? But oh my goodness, the sweating thing. I normally love summer, love the heat, could sit in the sun, get a tan, get no problem, wouldn't really break a sweat. Now we go on trips. Me and my husband, we go on trips, and I'm just like, okay, sweat for a little bit, jump in the cold water. Sweat for a little bit, jump in the cold water. I have not had a decent tan in years because I haven't been able to sit in the sun like I used to. And I consider the sun my friend. I say God is shining on me whenever I see the sun. It's my time, and I just can't do half of the things I used to. I suffered through still the anxiety, the depression, got it all, got that, the forgetfulness. Oh my goodness, and I kept thinking again, my family, Alzheimer's runs in my family. So I'm thinking the Alzheimer's is something that runs in my family. The depression, I was like, oh yeah, that runs in my family. The anxiety, that runs in my family.
Yep.
It wasn't until I really talked with Teresa and I was like, wait, this is all with the what?
Yep.
Hold on. Oh my goodness. And the other thing too is my menopause, we found out of a little bit after getting into it that I had breast cancer, and my breast cancer is actually what pushed the menopause, pushed me into full menopause. Thank God I've been recovered now, 5 years, no longer have it or
That's
anything like
awesome.
that. So I'm grateful for that. But one of the other things that happened too was it changed my taste buds. I love some spicy food. Used to be able to put hot sauce on everything. Man, now I'm like,
Look,
okay,
that's a big. See, this is what I mean.
Yeah.
yeah,
Everything is
Everything
menopause.
for me is salty now. I
yeah,
have to,
everything
everything is
salty.
salty.
I don't like a lot of salt. Like I can, if something like everybody else thinks it's not salty, I'm like, please don't put any salt on my food. Like I don't like salt. I like a little good seasoning, but not a lot of salt on things. So I really have
Wow.
gone through the gamut of issues with my hair.
Mhm.
Definitely the issues with my hair. My hairline has changed. I wear the scarf for a reason because and help me. I went through a natural journey. After breast cancer, decided to go ahead and take off my locks and the sweats. It's not pretty. It is not pretty, man. The sweat. I mean, sweat during the day, during the night. Can't sleep
Mm-hmm.
because of that. Getting up, it's nonstop. It is nonstop.
Right.
So I really, oh, and my sweat. I used when I was younger, I would sweat and it wouldn't be a big issue. I had to switch deodorants. Like
Mhm.
I got the real deodorant now.
Teresa.
Like I have secrets. The what is the
Yeah.
secret? Like
The, the
The
pH
clinical.
balance for one of them.
yeah, like I had to buy online the Mitchum, the one that said it would last for extra long. I I couldn't do the natural deodorant.
Yeah.
Natural deodorant. Everybody hear this. If you have natural deodorant, you can't do it during menopause.
No way. No, you
All
can't.
those
Yeah.
things. Oh my! And I was prone to dry skin. My skin is like now. My husband laughs at me. He's like, "How many lotions are you putting on?" Wait, is that a layer of oil? A layer of this? Man, shea butter is my friend. So I have
Yeah.
run the gamut with what
Yeah.
I've gone through menopause, and I'm still experiencing a lot of and it comes and goes, especially with the sweats for me now. At this point in time, there are some times when it's not as bad, but I will tell y'all, anybody who's been in church with me will see I have my little portable fan. Right now, I don't
Mhm.
have to have it because I have the fan in my office. It stays on all the time. The room window stays open, the fan stays on, and the blankets. So we go back and
Right.
forth.
Right. Absolutely. You
Y'all name it,
absolutely.
I've had it.
Yes, yes. So, wow, yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot. I do want to get some of the comments that are coming
Mhm.
online, but just so you guys know, I did remember the one thing that we hadn't mentioned was the role of weight.
Oh yeah.
That it's just like it doesn't matter. It's just like instant 5, 10,
Yeah.
12 pounds,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm like, what
Yeah.
in the world?
Yeah.
There's not like I'm out here running a marathon, but it's not going away.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
know
going
it's
away.
really interesting and I didn't mention this one, but in without having really changed my activities or lifestyle or anything along those lines, I gained 30 pounds in 6 months.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it was just you just feel out of control. I'm like I can't eat any less. I'm
Yeah.
exercising more and I'm still gaining weight every
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was
I literally had that same conversation on Friday with my doctor. I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
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 There's so much.
Yeah.
So yes, there is a lot there. I do want to go through some of these comments. Someone says it's like going through puberty
Oh
again.
yeah.
Yes.
I don't even remember, maybe because I blame it on menopause. I don't remember puberty too much, but
I'm sure
but
everyone
yeah,
around you remembered like when you were going through it, right? The
Yeah.
perspective is different,
yes,
but
exactly,
Yeah.
you're just
exactly. But
going. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's this incredible change that's happening to it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Dr. Lowe, tip: if you're struggling with sleep and sweats, try to get a cooling blanket.
Mm.
All right, I
Do they
love it.
sell them on Amazon?
I'm sure they sell everything on Amazon. What are you talking about?
Things on
Of course they
Amazon.
do. I did try a cooling mattress pad, and I
Mm.
think I got what I paid for. It didn't really work because I'm still hot.
Mm-hmm.
So my fan stays on.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to be a little considerate of Carl. I can't have the window open and the fan on because my boy, he'd just be sick as a dog.
You're
So
nice.
yes, yes. Let's see. Veronique says sounds like post childbirth, but longer. There's a lot of issues. Yes, there is a lot of issues, Veronique. You're absolutely right. And there's gosh. So here we are. You can put up some more comments, but here's the deal. Um, it is a journey. And if you guys have done any reading, menopause, perimenopause can can last about 10 years. It can. I'm not saying it's going to, but it can. These symptoms can last. And so then there's a whole other set of symptoms that we have during menopause, you know, because the estrogen is gone and lower. And so there's so many different things that can happen. Carrie says organic beef tallow has changed my life for the dry skin. Oh, okay. All right. So perfect. That's good. Thank you guys so much. With this conversation, the plan is for it to continue going. We're going to have another one next week, where we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking to more people that have had these symptoms, but are on the other side, and to find out like what is that like. All right, but we probably with all the different people, all the different comments that's coming through, we might have to have another one of these. So I tell you what, if you are interested in sharing your story, sharing your experiences, sharing your symptoms, and if I get 4 or 5 people who are interested in doing that, I'll have another one of these, because again, there's like 1,000 different symptoms and I didn't even know about the itchy ear. Maybe there's something that I just didn't even know about. So let me know. You guys, I think a lot of people have my text. You can email me. You can go on comments on Conversations with Teresa, but let me know if you're interested in doing that. But part of this series, one of the things I want to do is talk to people who are postmenopausal. But then I also wanted to get some answers, you know, some solutions. How are we going to not like drudge through this, but how are we going to thrive through this? If this is natural, then we've got some ways to be able to combat this in a great way. And we don't have to wait. We shouldn't wait until we start feeling these symptoms. When we're younger, we should have can do, I don't know who's listening, but the strength training, you know, and watching what you eat and what's going into our bodies. But even our mental, we have to start thinking about how are we thinking about it, because it's almost like the more we think about it in a negative way, the harder it is, you know. And so there's so much to be learned, to find out. So so it'll be interesting. I am interested if there are some more people who would be willing to share their story. Yes, have mercy on us, Father. I'm very interested if more people would like to share their story. I really want to give people a way to assure you're not crazy. Because I wasn't sure. Like legit, I really wasn't sure. I felt some stuff. And I'm still feeling, I still have to get out of it. I've told Tia, I'm like, my confidence like has gone down. It's not like over, but it's gone down. But there is some good news in it. And I do want you guys to stay tuned for the good news. You know, our bodies are created in an incredible way. This is just a snippet. It's just a snippet. And so we're going to get through this. And the more we talk about it, we get through it better. Sound good? So Jamima, you said freedom when it's done. All right. I'll say, I believe you. I'm looking for that freedom.
Light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. The freedom.
It's a long tunnel.
Yeah.
Teresa, if I could throw one last thing in before we leave, that I think if you were kind of in the workplace, as I mentioned, like for me, I was in office. And so it is not easy to have this conversation with your employer, right? Because so many of the symptoms are things that are like, what do you mean that's not a symptom your ear is itching? That's not a symptom that you're not, there's nothing wrong with you, right? And so, please have the conversation with your HR. I was fortunate in that I am HR, so it's not like you're lying.
Yeah, I'm also thinking, I'm like, do I really want everyone to come to me?
But it is. But I have a male boss, and so I had to, especially during that period of time with this constant cycle where I kind of had to have a conversation and say, here is why I cannot be, again, not even have to go into any type of detail, right? I'm fairly sure I referred to it as female issues, but he got the point.
That was all he needed to hear.
That's all he needed to hear.
He didn't want details. He's like, let me know. You want to just stay and work from home? You do what you got to do.
We'll pay you extra.
No, but
for real.
It took a while for me to actually kind of build up the this is real and it's legitimate, and it is, it's enough that I need to let HR, your manager or whatever know, right? Because if they don't know you're experiencing that, it just comes across like you're forgetful. You're, why are you in and out all the time? Right. Why do you need to take time off? I suffer from migraines. My migraines went ridiculous. I was out for days at a time because it would set my migraines off. But once I kind of had that conversation and they were like, okay, they're like, we're not even going to question you at this point. Right. Yeah, we get it. We get it. Exactly. So that's, I would leave with that to say, if you are in the workplace, be open with your HR about where you're at, talk about it. And, they're more and more employers are understanding that this is real. Hopefully you have one of those HR departments, but it was well worth it for me, at least, to kind of shed some light on what I was feeling.
Right. And again, the more that we talk about it, it becomes normalized. It's like, oh, okay, I'm sure that, maybe your boss went back to his wife and was like, oh, I learned some stuff, right? It's a possibility. And like I said, that one of our sessions will be just about this in the workplace, because, we have to work. This is our time to work, right? And, Jamima said, thank God for being able to work at home. It was a lifesaver to, be able to work at home, but we're not all, not everyone can work from home. I did hear of an employer, I don't know if I can say the company. I can say the company. So I heard that Blue Cross Blue Shield, I can't say the company.
Like, don't say the company.
She didn't see the two HR people were shaking their head.
I did. I know. And I should know. Like, I questioned it. And then I didn't look at you guys. All right. So I was looking at the camera. I didn't look at you guys. But anyway, now I done said it. But they have been really great about bringing a lot of awareness about menopause. And so I look
she
forward
said
to
something positive about it, so that's why she's okay.
Oh. Okay, I know we got to go. Tanya asked, are your husbands and partners supportive of you during your journey?
Ooh, and that's a whole nother podcast.
It is. And that's what I was just about to say. So another part of the podcast is where I invite men to come and not only hear, but to talk about their perspective. Because like I said, this is affecting everyone. Listen, my kids
help.
My kids were saying, Mom, are we going to have dinner tonight? I was like, oh, no. I'm like, you might not. Like, depending on how I can do it, So, but if we're not talking about it, our partners, they're not going to know. Right? If we don't know, they don't know. And so being able to talk about it, how do we talk about it? How do we get them to understand this? So there's a lot there. Oh my gosh. So tune back in We'll be back next week. And again, depending on people, if you guys want to share, I'll definitely give you some time to be able to share. If not, we're going to be talking to some employers. We might just have some of the HR people back, but some other people who have also experienced, like, so how am I supposed to do this at work? How can I be successful at work and do this? So I look forward to seeing you guys. Thank you guys so much for being part of the conversation. Thank you for loving me and listening to through all my tears, all my woes, all my everything. And I'm really, really grateful that you guys came on because, again, we need to talk about this some more. So Conversations with Teresa next Monday, 8:30. Be here, tell your friends, share the link, replay it, all of that great stuff. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Teresa.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.